Xbox Game Pass continues to be a great avenue for trying out games I'd be hesitant to pay full price for, because just this last week I downloaded one of the best games I played all year. And hey, this doesn't discount games like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or Monster Hunter. I just haven't played those yet. I'm working through Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. I'm liking it. And Monster Hunter, listen guys, I don't trust myself around a Monster Hunter game. If I played Monster Hunter right now, I wouldn't get anything else done for the rest of the year. I got a problem with those games, so I'm showing some self-control by waiting to play that at a later point in time. I really did enjoy my time in South of Midnight. This is a heavy narrative game with a phenomenal presentation. But real quick, I've been stuck on this boss in Dark Souls called the Algorithm. I don't know how to beat it, guys. Please, someone help. Please help. I heard subscribe before it's too late. South of Midnight combines folklore from the deep American South with the theme of the ways we hurt each other and how we heal from those experiences. South of Midnight is a story that presents itself as a young woman's brave rescue mission to save her mother from the clutches of evil, but it also doubles as a story of understanding other people's struggles and helping them overcome their forgotten or suppressed trauma and negative emotions. South of Midnight's narrative is so incredible that I just need to tell you about how much I loved it. But this is a full review of the whole game, so I do need to approach it from every angle, just like I do with every other game I've talked about on this channel. So let's just dive into it so I can get back to telling you how good the storytelling is. South of Midnight was developed by Compulsion Games in Unreal Engine 5, and it has highly stylized visuals that are reminiscent of stop-motion films like Coraline, Nightmare Before Christmas, or The Corpse Bride. I loved that. There's no question to me that this is one of the best looking games this year. I love stop motion films, so this is right up my alley. Hazel Flood has 3 unique costumes that she earns in the game, and I really liked this because it really gave me a more tangible sense of progression in a game that doesn't really have any customization. Each level is built different. No two places are going to feel the same. One of the first levels ends with Hazel climbing this massive tree, only for it to lead into like a flooded zone where a giant alligator called Two-Toe Tom is lurking around every corner. I truly felt like I was getting to live through one of those aforementioned stop-motion movies. So if you like those movies, you're going to love this game already. Gameplay is actually very good. I have my critiques, and most of them are about the gameplay, but I do have to say the platforming was awesome. It's fluid, it feels very inspired by games like Prince of Persia, and dare I say, a bit of Assassin's Creed. With just how I'm familiar with parkour, I'm sure there are other games that have influenced it, but from my experience, that's what it felt like. And I honestly wish there was just kind of more of it, because there wasn't just much to it, and I just really liked how fluid it felt and how natural it felt. So I was just kind of let down that there wasn't really much to it after the first few hours. But I did love all the platforming sections. I usually think that they don't fit super well in 3D action games, because like the old God of Wars used to do them and I hated them. But no, it's actually some of the best parts about this game. And there is combat, and combat reminds me of classic God of War mixed with Fable. Do you guys remember Fable? Of course you remember Fable, right? I mean, you have to remember Fable. Xbox is bringing it back. You are tossed into these arenas and you have to like dodge enemies and counterattack, and you have to do that all pretty strategically. Hazel fights these creatures called Haints, which are malevolent spirits. Some attack from range, some attack up close and are super aggressive, and like the more brutish Haints will have big health pools, and they have massive area of effect attacks that deal massive damage. So each combat encounter needs to have a degree of strategy and analysis, like what Haints need to be taken down first, what Haints can you use to benefit you, because you can turn them to your side using a magical doll named Crouton to possess them, and should you kill low health Haints right now or save them for later, because when you kill a Haint, you have a chance to unravel them, and you get a small boost of health back. So do you want to get that health boost now, or do you want to save it for later? My biggest criticism about combat, however, is that even with warning indicators, I still found myself being hit by attacks that were off-screen, and due to the small size of some of the arenas, I just felt like it was kind of annoying, and, you know, that could be a skill issue. Totally fair. but I don't know. I think that it's also a flaw within the own design of the game. Okay, so now we can get to the story, and oh my gosh, the story is phenomenal. I'll say it right now, the acting, the writing, the soundtrack, all worthy of award nominations. I would go as far to say I could see a live performance of this masterful soundtrack happening at this year's TGA ceremony. I'm gonna play a few samples because I just gotta share this incredible soundtrack with you guys.
Was my brother, Benji his name. He saw things different, he was my shame. And I said goodbye, I said farewell. I took my hammer, my ticket to hell.
No, the bill! Sick green sky and tornadoes flying. How much longer until the river's rising? Birds fall silent and the critters are hiding.
Night I lie awake in bed and ponder what I should have said. Regret would dog me all night long. All I did just felt so wrong until Kushma came along. Dreammaker, kingmaker, Lord of bargain chance. Spin the wheel and make a wish. There's no payment in advance.
I mean, I've been putting some of that stuff in my own playlists on Spotify. I really, really loved the music. The story of Hazel Flood's mission to rescue her mother from this monstrous spider lady named Huggin' Molly is awe-inspiring. It's a tale that I was able to connect with, that I was so enthralled by, the animation, and the acting was energetic and dramatic. I mean, it was hard to find any flaws here. I really loved it all. My favorite part was at the halfway point. Hazel encounters a man that her mother used to date, and his name is Laurent. He's a complicated man. He struggled with his emotions his entire life, but mostly with his anger. He's endured a lot of trauma, and he's kind of known for easily flying off the handle, even though he tries to keep a calm demeanor about him. Since Laurent tends to bottle all of his emotions up, he eventually will reach boiling points, and when he does that, his anger manifests in a creature called a Rougarou. He transforms into this giant bird. It's loud, aggressive, and destructive. Laurent was a character I felt like I could connect with because as someone who's also kind of struggled with anger as emotion and like having an unhealthy habit of bottling it up, I could understand the shame this character had about like going from a relatively calm demeanor to getting angry out of nowhere, because, you know, that stuff reflects really poorly on your character, and so when you eventually calm down, you're still ashamed of what you did, and it's embarrassing. You know, this was a really good characterization of that type of struggle with anger, so I really did love Laurent's character, and he had one of my favorite scenes in the entire game. It really stuck with me even after the credits rolled. And that's what's so great about South of Midnight's story. It's just so human that anyone can make a connection to it, no matter who they are. Throughout the game, when Hazel enters combat, she'll have to remove this dark energy called stigma. It's a little on the nose, but the game's main theme is about kind of overcoming your negative emotions, and this translates into gameplay as well as story. And sometimes when stigma gets too out of control in this game, it manifests itself in a boss fight. Two-Toe Tom is a boss fight in the game that is a physical manifestation of a character's suppressed resentment of their own father to the point where they committed an unthinkable act that they never ever spoke about. And therefore, Two-Toe Tom took all of that negative emotion and became more than just a regular alligator. He becomes a huge monster that terrorizes the Louisiana bayou. Just like how Laurent bottles up his anger, a lot of characters bottle up their sadness, or maybe they bottle up their regret, or they bottle up just their trauma in general. One thing I want to just go quickly in depth to is what Hazel is. Hazel is something called a weaver. She's basically someone who can see the threads of our reality and kind of bend them to her will to kind of, well, mend what's broken. And in this game, she kind of uses her Weaver powers to look inwards to people's souls and see their trauma that they've left behind, essentially. And then she uses her powers to kind of mend these wounded souls. So what she does is she uses a little bottle she has to get the trauma, and after she does that, she attracts the Dark Force Kushma, which will every time chase her to the end of the level, where she'll come across this glowing tree that will purify these negative emotions. Now, the tree represents inner peace, and to reach inner peace, you have to overcome one last hurdle, which is the ability to move on, which is like the underlying theme of South of Midnight, the ability to move on, because if you can't move on, then you're going to get stuck in this depression, this deep depression that you're going to have a harder time climbing out of. We also have an amazing voice cast for this game. Adrian Ray, Ahmed Best, Joel Steingold, Deborah Cardona, some of the highlights of this cast, and a lot more. Completely talented voice cast here. South of Midnight's art, there's no arguing that. This is one of my favorite games this year. There's just one big flaw that really disappointed me, and it's just that the curtain call for this game comes way too early, and it feels really rushed. The final boss fight is hardly a boss fight, and after a certain point, all player control is just kind of removed from you, and you're shown like maybe a 10 to 15 minute cutscene that just wraps everything up, including one of the major plot points, and it just feels so mashed together that it kind of flows into its after credit scene, and it was harder to digest than the rest of the story, because it was so rushed out the door. It felt like they're like, all right, story's over, bye, get out of here, bye. And that's a bummer. South of Midnight is still an amazing game despite that criticism, so Compulsion Games should be very proud of it. I just wish it was allocated a bit more time and resources, because then it would simply just be a masterclass, in my opinion. So my final review score for South of Midnight is going to be an 8.5 out of 10. If you got Game Pass, check it out. If you want like a short, focused single-player experience, check it out. If you like spooky gothic stuff and need something different from the norm, check this out. If anything, South of Midnight is probably going to be a cult classic like the American McGee's Alice video games. Thank you for watching. And hey, if you like this video, please subscribe. You know, I guess I could start my next review. Do Blueprints. I heard people like Blueprints. It looks interesting. Alright, I probably should do the Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns video. And actually play that game. It's been over a year since I played the first two. And nothing's really stopping me from doing that, because you know, like, what are they gonna do? Remaster my favorite fantasy RPG of— oh my god!